So I have learned a lot of good things and not so good things. And the hand you have to bring to life and job and whatever you do every day, right? Particularly in India. And I can tell you I have worked outside. In India particularly, very, very important that we are resilient. And we have to bring our hands to the job, otherwise we don't survive. But I think the greatest thing is about the heart. And I think that's where what this group really connects with. And the heart is all about a sense of long-term purpose. And there was a Harvard study done about what drives long-term happiness, and 3 things came out as something which we don't normally relate to. It wasn't money, it wasn't how good you look, it wasn't how successful you are. Can you guess? Relationship was number 1. Thank you very much. Relationship, good, warm, healthy relationships. Imagine when we are building our life and our careers, what are we doing with relationships? Number 2 was a sense of purpose. Thank you. A sense of purpose, what the Japanese call ikigai, right? The reason to get out of bed. And number 3 is what we, in our Hindu philosophy, we say finding happiness in others' happiness, the infinite goal, right? So coming back to my story, I wanted to work in a company. In fact, I meandered for a bit. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot, all those fancy dreams, etc. Nothing materialized till somebody kicked me in the back and said, go find a job. And so I never liked numbers. I loved words, but I got stuck with a career in numbers. I keep it away from my HR folks, but they're always wondering, what the hell am I doing? I'm into music. I'm writing books. So when am I working? Maybe I'm not working. Cut this guy's salary in half. So, and then I made a career in finance. But what did I learn really from my parents? From my mother, I learned the importance of being good. And that's the first lesson for me in life, and the most powerful lesson. We didn't have a silver spoon. From my dad, I learned the importance of doing well. So being good and doing well are the 2 fundamental founding principles of what has shaped my life so far, both personally and professionally. And early on, life has been back and forth, many setbacks. I learned a lot from failures. And I'll talk a little bit about it as we go along in this discussion, about what happens when you fail. And I'm sure all of you have failed. And we will continue to fail, right? So it's not about the failure. It's about what happens in your head, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I was very fortunate to find an organization, PepsiCo, which really allowed me to live my professional life the way I wanted to lead life. And our ex-CEO, everybody heard of Indra Nooyi? Yes. Iconic leader of an iconic American company. And she had this phrase, which is performance with purpose. So it's not only about performance. And today we are talking a lot about purpose, making the planet a better place. What we are doing in this group here is also in the purpose area, right? You're helping improve things and develop leadership capability, right? Unleash the potential in people. And that, I think, is a strong sense of purpose, much, much beyond what performance can get to. But as I stand here today, I am left with a deep sense of gratitude. Success, people take for granted, or people feel that वो तो हो जाएगा, वो तो आएगा, but ऐसा नहीं होता है. And it's been back and forth. I remember taking a demotion once, going back because I had a personal need to do so. So life has been all about front and back, vulnerability and confidence. And as I stand here today, I am making another confession, which is I am making a pivot. I'm moving away from 24, almost 30 years of performance to more now driving a purpose-driven agenda. I'm going to work on leadership coaching. I'm going to embrace learning, and I want to go back to teaching, my passion as a child. And therefore, this is a shift in my life's journey. So it's a great opportunity and a great time to stand here and share my story with all of you. So, that's a brief intro, Sochi.
I think you kind of hinted on that, and I think here people would love to know more. You lived in different cultures, you also saw failure. So would you like to share, if it's not too personal?
Yeah, so let me share a couple of stories, and my life has been full of stories. By the way, the fiction, honestly, I wrote some business proposals which sounded like, it felt like fiction when I wrote them. So that's how I grounded myself in fiction. But I went to, Dubai. I was in India for 15 years, and this was my first international role. And our Indian way of doing things, which is, basically, chalo karte hai, we speak in the local language, we don't care of time sometimes, right? We don't value each other's time sometimes. And I went to Dubai, and I had a team which was somebody from Lebanon, somebody from Turkey, somebody from Guatemala, somebody from China, somebody from the Middle East, somebody from UK, no Indians. And I was like a fish out of water for the first 6 months. And this was a very critical strategy and planning job for everything other than the US and UK and Europe, sorry. And I felt like an utter failure. And within 6 months, I was at my nadir thinking that will I be able to hold on to my job? And then I realized the problem was not with the team. The problem was with me. Because I am trying to make everybody adapt to my way of doing things and my style of working. I come in late and I stay late. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody has got a personal life beyond their office hours. The Turkish colleague, she likes instructions on an email, whereas I like talking on the phone. The Chinese person is very quiet. Culturally, they are very quiet. The Colombian keeps talking. And it's my job to, give, Andrew, the Chinese person, a chance to talk, and he had the best ideas. So I realized this very powerful question when handling diverse teams. And the question is, what difference does the difference make? And I can't tell you how powerful a diverse team can be if you can answer that question in your own head. So it's up to us, it's up to me to really understand different perspectives and then use that to the advantage of the team output. And as soon as I realized that, I changed myself. And when I did that, the magic happened. Imagine a diverse team with so many different perspectives. You get a safety net. Today, we fall into this trap of having people just like us around us. We like that, don't we, as human beings? We like people nodding. I also love people nodding, it's nice. It's good to see nodding heads. But I think when you are leading diverse teams, you have to be okay with people having different points of views, right? And that makes the output so strong. So I faced that first time. So lesson number 1 is really managing diverse teams. Then I went to Vietnam. And actually, I still remember I got this call and my boss said, there is this lovely job in Vietnam. I said, okay, where is that on the map? Let me look at it. Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, where is that? I called my wife. She's here. First thing she said, I hope you turned it down. And I said, no, I love PepsiCo and, I think this is good for us. So I moved. And I love English and I love, the Queen's language. I love writing long emails. I love talking. So I went there and, and my reputation preceded me. Okay, this is a bright guy from India coming and things like that. And then within 3 months, I realized the team was totally demoralized. And the team was mostly Vietnamese, Japanese folks. This was a joint venture with a Japanese company called Suntory. And then my boss came and rapped me on my knuckles and said, what the hell are you doing? All these designer emails that you're sending, nobody's understanding. Because people are translating your English into Vietnamese, then are translating the answers back into English, and then trying to figure out what the hell is happening, right? So the lesson for me was, slow down, keep it simple. And the moment I did that, magic happened again. And Vietnam is a country which is very proud. It's the people are very hardworking. They are very proud of their heritage. the only country to push back the Americans. So, you can imagine a proud nation, right? So the last thing I wanted to do is to get on their wrong side. It wasn't about my intellect. It wasn't about my intelligence. It was about adaptability. So lesson number 2 of working outside is adaptability. And sometimes it basically means slowing down. Sometimes it means listening. Sometimes it means, just respecting the other's perspective. Sometimes it's about feeling. We had a Vietnamese driver. This was a very powerful insight for me. So I said, why aren't they understanding what I'm saying? What's the problem, right? This is PepsiCo, right? And then my wife told me, why don't you learn Vietnamese? I said, okay, let me try. I tried for 6 months. It's a tonal language. Same word can be said in 6 tones and can mean totally different things. I failed. I couldn't learn. And that hit me. If I can't learn their language, how can I expect them to understand my language and what I'm saying? Right? So this is a very, very powerful insight when handling, different and diverse teams. Well, that's lesson number 2 from working outside: adaptability and inclusive leadership.
But it kind of provokes me to ask this question. Apart from your wife, who's a definitely very important coach, I can see that, asking you the right questions and challenging your beliefs. Have you had any other coaches through your leadership journey who helped you, think about these things and reflect deeply upon your own style and help you become?
No, I mean, I've been very fortunate to work in, PepsiCo for 2.5 decades. And as an organization, we are a very learning, agile organization. And we are focused on development. And therefore, I've had the privilege of a formal process of self-development. I can't imagine the company that I joined 24 years back and the person that I am today. I think the organization has made me a better human being, a better leader, a better spouse, a better father. And that has been a process of continuous improvement. And I think it all starts with introspection in terms of who you are. Actually, the honest thing is, who you are is not for others to judge. Who you are is for yourself to judge. I use this in a more from a values, ethics, integrity context, but because, I think for this group, you are who you are in an empty room where nobody is watching you. That's who you really are. Okay? And therefore, it all starts with that. And therefore, the process of improvement and self-development journey starts with you yourself. But I've got a lot of feedback in life, a lot of feedback. Initially, I used to resist the feedback. We get 360 feedback. Boss gives feedback, peers give feedback, subordinates give feedback, your team gives feedback. And I said, oh God, what is this? I mean, this is like, too much. But honestly, I realized over a period of time, feedback is a gift. You have a lot of blind spots. And this helps you discover those blind spots and work. I have had many formal, but mostly informal coaches all through my life. I've been very, very, very fortunate. And some in my personal space, some in the organization that I worked with, some outside the organization as well. One of the things that I used to always struggle with, again, this coming back to personality and my mother's lesson of be good, sometimes comes in the way. And it came in the way for me as well. I found it very difficult to give critical feedback. I found it very difficult to handle tough conflict situations. Because this thing about going to bed at night knowing that you have, hurt somebody's feelings, or, we have this I had this Mr. Congeniality thing in me. I have to be nice to everyone. I struggle big time with that. And the coaching intervention really helped me see that blind spot. And I was able to realize that this is not a Mr. Congeniality contest at all. And sometimes I am being good by telling someone in my team that there is a problem with that person. I will not be doing my job as a leader, as a manager, if I don't do that, right? So taking those hard calls was something that I used to struggle with, and over a period of time, very, very comfortable doing that now, and thanks to the coaching intervention. Communication was a big issue. I used to fill up my sentences with non-verbal communication. I didn't realize that till somebody pointed out. These words that you're saying in the middle of your sentences don't add any value. They are distracting. And it's hard to digest. But once you really internalize that, it becomes powerful. Right? So, yeah, coaching has really helped me. And it still does. I still am in touch with people. The other thing that I've realized is today, like in Sanskrit, they say chitta vritti nirodha, which means how do you control your mind? We are in a world which is like, when we were starting, I look at the group and some of you would be my age, right? So we started in a situation where knowledge was a paucity, was a scarcity. We used to look at parents and elders and teachers and professors for knowledge. Today, any conversation with our 26-year-old son is a process of reverse mentoring. It's not about knowledge. What can I tell him? I can't tell him anything. Right? He's telling me what's going on, and he's a software engineer, and he tells me what's going on in the world of software. He tells me how redundant I'm getting every day if I don't keep pace with what's happening there, right? So today we have to, I think knowledge, learning, development, everything starts with a calm mind. How long can we stay without our mobile phones? Anybody?
That's a big one.
You have your phone in front of you, and then you are, let's say, I would say in a session like this, right? How long can you, unless you have, a Japanese gentleman singing a song, right? In a normal situation, stay away from your phone. I can't. Tough. They say in yoga and also in Ayurveda, and they are related sciences, that you are strongest when your mind is the calmest. And therefore today I think we have this need to calm ourselves down, to calm our mind, right, before we perform. And it's chitta vritti nirodha. Because the mind is running amok, right? And something needs to calm it. So that's another, I think, process that we need to integrate, and I feel very, very strongly with that. I can see the correlation between leadership, coaching, mentoring. And today in the business world, we have no time to think. I call this the balcony and the dance floor. We are always on the dance floor. We are always in the here and now. We are always in the problem-solving mode. How much time are we spending thinking? How many of you use ChatGPT? How many of you use AI algorithms? Earlier, my wife is she's basically a food blogger. She's got a popular blog, etc. So, and she's written books before. So, she used to always come to me and say, "Please write I have this recipe. Can you write a story?" And we would just sit and she would tell me the story in her own words, and I would write the preamble. And today, I give her 5 choices of the preamble. She says, "What the hell is happening here?" So it's not me anymore. And I realized that was not the right thing to do. I'm losing my originality. My brain is becoming lazy and dumb. I like the creative side of myself. So I forget about the 5 choices. Here's this one choice. Okay, like it or not, but it's original and mine, right? So that's the other thing about the space that we are in today, Ruchi.
No, when we were talking about chaos and the calmness, I'm thinking of actually the visual that came to my mind was when Krishna twirls his chakra, and the center is always calm, right? He doesn't do this. He just keeps it calm, and the world may be twirling, but our mind has to be so calm. So just that sharing that image that came to me. And talking about Japanese and Japanese gentlemen here, yeah, I know you told me about a story about how Japanese, you learned a valuable lesson there.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I don't profess to be an expert, but this is something that I learned, hands-on, working with with a large set of Japanese folks, and this is Zen Buddhist concept called soshing, and that's also the first chapter in my book. And what it really means is having a beginner's mind. One thing that I think I have realized over my almost 35 years of professional life is as we go on and add more experiences and add more knowledge, the knowledge also becomes baggage. And unless we are able to shed that baggage, we are not able to reinvent ourselves and learn. Real learning comes with a still mind, a calm mind, and also an empty mind. So having a beginner's mind, imagine how fast kids learn, right? I tried 6 months of Vietnamese, I couldn't learn, right? I can't hold, there was a point in time before I started this journey on yoga and Ayurveda, I love reading. I used to do multiple books. When I was a kid, I used to do 3 library books a week. The school gave 1 a week. I can't sit and read for 15 minutes. Mind is distracted. So these are the other things. So therefore, having a beginner's mind, a mind like a child, soshing, is so important in the world that we live today. I have seen leaders who struggle with their own baggage. This is the way it is done. Don't tell me. I know how to do it. I have been there. We've all fallen prey to that, right? I have myself as well. So we traveled around the world, and we like to carry our furniture. My wife is, she loves the stories about all the furniture where we picked it up. And we landed in Hong Kong. Anybody who's been to Hong Kong or lived in Hong Kong? It's very expensive real estate there. The apartments are very small. We realized our thing is not going to fit, right? So baggage is like that. We have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Imagine the world that we are living in and the world that's coming. Only those people who are able to be future relevant are going to be successful, right? Therefore, who you are today, what you know today, no good. And therefore, don't hesitate to shed all the baggage. Zindagi na milegi dobara, that scene where the guy is, wanting to get out of the plane, but he can't jump, and somebody says, okay, kick me. That's what it is. Let it go. We have to let it go. And this is also a philosophy in life. We have to let it go. Nothing is permanent. Knowledge is not.
Yeah, and actually that's a very good coaching mindset also, right? Start from a blank place. When you're meeting your client, you don't assume anything of that. And the more curious you are, the better the coaching experience goes, because they also know that you're really quite curious about them and you're really giving that intent to know more about them versus coming from whatever. It could be a designation, it could be a CEO, it could be a whatever designation, all that doesn't matter, because you're really asking and going into the who of the person. So, this is a good example of that coaching question also. So, coming to your book, The Career Edge, what, as a you've lived, like I said, across, you've mentored a lot of people, you've had your own career journeys, you've taken a step back to go forward. So what inspired you to write the book?
Yeah, it wasn't till my mid-40s that I realized another very, very thought-provoking and powerful question in life. And the question is, are we working to live or are we living to work? What do you think? Are we working to live or are we living to work?
Depends on the stage of your life.
Sorry?
Depends on the stage of your life.
Depend on the stage of your life. Okay. Bank balance. Okay. All right. Very nuanced, I think. Okay. You're really using your IQ right now. Okay.
We should be working to live, but what we end up doing is living to work.
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly. We are, honestly, I realize that life is more important than just work itself. So, work is just a means to an end. And the question, I've asked many people this question, senior people, if you didn't have to work for money, what would you do? I got myriad answers. A lot of people wanted to set up shacks in Goa and, and things like that, right? Amazing. Somebody wanted to dance and, do Bharatnatyam, right? I would love to, sit in the mountains and write books and, have a band and play music. So I realized in my mid-40s that I am not living to work. And I always loved words. And I got stuck in juggling numbers. But there was nobody stopping me from doing something about it. Nobody was telling me you can't pursue your passion. So I started writing. I started with fiction. By the way, it's very difficult for an unknown author to get any publisher. I struggle. Forget that story. I'm not going to talk. That's a story about resilience. I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah, sorry, you have a question?
I said I agree.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And writing for me is better than medicine. Writing for me helps me relax. So one lesson that I have learned in my professional journey is that it's not a sprint, it's a long distance race, it's a marathon. So unless you nourish yourself from within, unless you find something which nourishes you and recharges your battery, it's a simple thing about like recharging your battery. Music, writing, that is what it is for me. And I've seen leaders who are unidimensional, who it is all about work, work and work. Like the graphic equalizers of earlier, the jukeboxes, the bass and the treble and things like that. You're just pumping up the treble. Your music is going to be very, very jarring. People around you are, you won't impact them positively. People like leaders who are balanced. The ultimate job of a leader, I believe, is giving. If you're not nourished yourself, how will you give? So writing for me was that. Music for me is that. A lot of people ask me, how the hell do you hold on to a job and do all this? And my answer to them is, if I can do it, you can do it. There is no excuse for not doing it. Nobody's asking you. Of course, yeah, HR sometimes asks me those questions. Okay. Are you writing during work? So, no, I write during the weekends. That kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, but the moral of the story is you have to find your passion and you have to find, because the more senior you get, the longer you get in life. I can tell you now I'm moving away from really an executive life to a very, very different life. And somebody told me the other day, somebody very, very senior, I said, I really envy you because you have all these passions. You can make this transition so smoothly. For me, it's just work, work and work. What the hell am I going to do? We have a very, very senior bureaucrat who's a family friend. And he was telling me, my God, the day I quit my job, salam kaun marega, gaadi, all the red hooter and all the dalis and so on and so forth. Life is going to be very, very different, right?
Yeah.
So developing who you are beyond just your work is so, so important. Imagine you introducing yourself. We always start introducing ourselves by saying so and so from so and so, right? If there was no so and so from so and so, then who are you?
Yeah, it's a very tough one.
So the career edge actually came from also a little bit of, the career edge actually is a book which is grounded in experiential learning. And I wanted this to act like a coach or mentor in a book form. And this is something that I wish that I had told myself when I was starting. Because today people don't have people to talk to, honestly. I think there's a dearth of folks who listen. So therefore, the career edge started from there. And, it's also a sense of paying it forward because I have got so much in life from so many people. It's my way of paying it forward. And it's great to hear feedback saying, I actually use something of what you have written in the book in my workspace, right? It's a little bit like my wife's recipes. And somebody, she's very excited when somebody says, I tried your recipe. And whatever, it came out okay, but whatever. And some people have also told her, there's something wrong with the recipe. Maybe there was so people are really using. I think even for coaches and it's like that. No, if you really impact somebody meaningfully,
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Okay, so with that, I think let's open it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Kaushik, the question is, you mentioned you're strongest when you're the calmest. And you also spoke about distraction. And that's also my experience coaching leaders. They come into coaching session and they're not all calm. What is your go-to way of calming yourself when you are in that corporate context?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I can tell you it's not easy. I call it the balcony and the dance floor. In my mind, I have a dance floor where we are all doing hajar things, and we are in the hurly-burly of the here and now, etc., etc. I just go to the balcony in my mind. I climb the stairs, go to the balcony, and mentally I am there. It's a sense of visualization. It's also a little bit of simple thing like meditation. And we make too much out of meditation. Honestly, nothing. It's just calming yourself down, breathing. Today, if you're able to connect with our breathing, it's such a powerful, I would say, tool life has given us. But we can't. We are totally out of sync with our breathing, right? So if you're able to do that, you're able to... The problem is we are not in the present. Like you said, you are coaching somebody and the person is not in the present. May not be distracted on the phone, but the mind is working somewhere else. Again, it's back to that calm mind, and the mind needs to be present. It's back to, the Gita, the 5 horses are running amok. You need somebody to rein it in, right? So, you need the Sarathi, basically. It's not easy. It takes time. But very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. I've also seen it useful when, after so many years, I love talking, and I was worried that we won't have enough people in the room. But now I see that we have a lot of people, which is good. But I was very nervous when I started. Very, very nervous. I hated, when somebody used to walk up to me and I was sitting in where you are sitting, I used to look down because I didn't want to make eye contact, lest that person ask me a question. Today I feel, confident to come up and give me a stage, I want to talk. But I still get butterflies in my stomach. I need to calm myself down. So while we was planning this session, I was sitting at the back and, calming myself down.
I think two important. One is the breath work, and one is the visualization that you're away from the chaos. It's in inner space, right? I mean, it's really what happens inside. We are so focused on what's happening outside.
Yeah.
Not easy, but.
Yeah, it is. And there's a follow-up, and a follow-up to that. There are also leaders that we end up being asked to coach, who I'm not sure they really know how they want to be coached. And you talked about that in terms of the beginner's mind.
Yep.
So, from the CFO perspective, I'm asking you this question. How would you create that desire, let's say for somebody in your team who needs to be coached, but does not have that beginner's mind?
I think self-realization is the most important thing. And sometimes there is a disconnect between to this specific question of yours in the workspace, sometimes a disconnect between what the manager is thinking and what the team member is thinking. The manager is almost like a coach, is seeing it from outside the field. The manager is outside. Let's take a sporting analogy. You're the coach standing outside the field, watching what's happening inside, and you can see this person, and you know what's wrong there, right? But the person is playing the game, not realizing how he or she is playing it, and where he or she is going wrong, right? So I think first is the candid conversation. The mirror is so important. I have had the same experience myself on the other side. Is it true, really? I mean, do I talk like this? Come on, yeah, my English is great. Says, no. This is how you look. This is how you speak. So showing the mirror, I think, starts the realization. Then linking it to, I won't call it consequences, but linking it to, let's say, the potential unlock for the individual is also very important, because people are smart. If they know what the implications are, some people use their left brain to do right brain stuff also.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And the people business is not about the left brain at all. So for all our intelligence, it's, I have this thing about how do you relate to people, and we are in the people business, and it's 3 Greek words: ethos, logos, and pathos. Ethos is about who you are. Why will people listen to you? Why will people get coached by you? And I have seen across the globe certain things matter. Sorry, I'm digressing a little, but this is an important point. People like authenticity. People like genuine, authentic leaders. People do not like insecure leaders. People like folks who are genuinely in the moment thinking and relating with you. And therefore, coming back to this conversation, it's really about the ethos part. And we use logos too much. Imagine in India particularly, I've seen you put 10 people in a room, everybody has their own idea, and they'll keep debating till death, right? We over-intellectualize. I've seen that in Southeast Asia. Actually, things are much, much faster to you get things done, executed very faster, because there are a few people who think, rest execute. Yes, there's a healthy debate, but life goes on, right? But pathos is the most powerful piece, particularly in the corporate world. Pathos is all about emotional connect. Today, our office discussions are more transactional. I want something from you, I go to you, you want something from me, you come to me, otherwise we are, So it's a very need-based relationship. If we can go beyond the need-based relationship, I think that's where the magic happens. And I've done around 25 roles across so many places. I've seen that what really works is building those initial trust accounts with your stakeholders. Literally, I write down on a piece of paper who my customers are, who am I dealing with, and every role and every situation is very, very different. I have zero credibility to start with. Ethos counter is at 0, because these people are very different. They don't know me. Right? So how do you reset that? It's about almost treating everybody and that relationship like a bank account. Like you put monies into your bank account, you put trust monies into that trust account. So and we use it in our personal space. No conversation with again back to we've been married for 31 years. Sometimes logos doesn't work. That's where pathos comes in. Right, so and similar situation. But if you use that more in professional world, in our professional relationship, I think again the magic can happen. Because at the end of the day, people with low trust, low pathos, small problem, 100 emails going back and forth, and I'm copied on it, it's not getting resolved. But 2 people with high pathos and high trust, very difficult problems get solved like that. So it's all about that. So intellect and intelligence and left brain is overrated in a sense, when we are dealing with people. We are not NASA, right, at the end of the day.
So, can I ask?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
This, then that, and that. Yeah, okay.
I think I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
So my question is, as you shared that you have, worked across the globe and worked with different kinds of people. But what I want to know from you, when we talk about leadership, now there are different generations in the leadership roles. And our generation was different, and then now's generation, the Gen Zs are different. And that time we used to talk a lot when it comes to leadership. People are passionate, and a lot of hard work was there, and as you were asking this question, that are we working to live,
Yep.
or are we living to work? So we could really sense all these things in that kind of a generation, or even our kind of a generation, that we used to really give something extra, one thing extra. Now in today's world, as with this chat GPT and the digital era,
So the people today, the leaders today, maybe, I don't know, they are kind of like chilled out, and they really know that they have a lot of options, they have a lot of other things. So how do you define, or I would say redefine this leadership for today's generation, and what kind of gaps or differences do you really see?
I think the big shift is, what is going to become more and more important, which is, I think, very heartening for this group here, is that the human edge is going to be more and more important. Imagine in the world of algorithms, what else is left, right? It's all about the human part. So therefore, I think our role becomes even more elevated. So far, the way we have grown up and we have educated ourselves, and it's all knowledge based, left brain. Imagine, it was all about the brightest in the school, Imagine where all the all the toppers in the school, where on earth are they today? I can't bet not all of them are, right on top of, professional success. Maybe they are professors in some university, not demeaning the professors. That's a fantastic thing as well. But there are a lot of people who've also done very, very well, who doesn't need to be, I think the current generation is that, in a sense. Everybody has a choice. So it's not about knowledge anymore. Seniors, and we have to seek out the value add. Where is the value add? The current generation is all about, okay, don't give me gyan, tell me how you can add value. Right? Nobody is interested in gyan anymore. And it's also a very convenience generation, because knowledge is on fingertips. Right? Everything is on fingertips. So we have to carve out a space for ourselves where we are able to add value. And I think that comes from the human edge. That comes from sharing experiences. That comes from sharing what really works, rather than, theory and theoretical frameworks. And also we must talk their language. We can't be talking our language. I remember a conversation with our son when he was growing up. It's okay, we were growing up in Calcutta, we toughed it out, and we rode in these tin buses and blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, why are you telling me all this? Do you want me to ride in tin buses, etc.? So your reality was different, my reality is different. Let's move on. Okay, that's the generation. So we have to soshing again, and we shed our baggage and start afresh and understand their world. So but I think the pathos and the experience part is extremely valuable today, and will become more and more tomorrow, right? But the youngsters are impatient. They want everything all the time. That's their world. We were happy with something sometimes. Sorry, I'm giving long answers. I'll give short answers now. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that, and that was a very good question. So you said, and I sense a contradiction here, and that's why I'm asking you this question.
Yeah, sure.
You said your son said that was your experience, your theory, your understanding. Then how would you add value through that experience to Gen Z? Because they're sitting there and thinking, what's in it for me? And then what do you tell them that adds value?
Ma'am, you need to get into their world.
And how do you do that?
And today I'll tell you, the great, fantastic, of course contradiction. We did an AI program for senior leaders. The problem is with us. The problem is with the senior people in organizations, and I can say our learning agility, again back to baggage, you don't want to learn anything new. So we have to appreciate their world. And therefore I think it starts a little bit with us in terms of embracing what their context is. And unless we do that, we're still sitting on our side of the fence and trying and figuring and then getting frustrated as to why I'm not able to break through, right? So we have to forget our perspective and really jump into their perspective once we jump into their perspective, talk their language, and don't do it artificially. Don't do it in a mugged up left brain way. It's tough, it's not easy. I think the revolution that's coming is stronger and more powerful than the industrial revolution. We can't duck our heads in the sand. It's an inflection point for all of us, whether it's professionals, people in mid-careers, particularly the senior folks, right? We have to unlearn. Yeah.
Can I say,
So-
just continue with this, because the point that you shared is little, different, because I didn't talk about the stretch between this generation and that generation. Of course, they know a lot. I mean, I thoroughly and truly appreciate the new generation. They have something that maybe our generation didn't have. The point was, so I just put an example. So my daughter, who's 18-year-old, if she has to write the answer in the examination, even she knows the whole lot of theory about this, and she would say, Mama, I wrote 2 lines. And if I would say, so did you put example, you knew it? No, Mama, why 2? I said, but why? You knew this, why didn't you write? Mama, look at this. The question was of 2 marks.
There you are. There you are. So you're right. I mean, we are answering our own questions. I'll tell you, I did BCom honors. It was a 4-hour examination, and we were programmed, you must take more paper. At least 3 times you must take additional paper to write. So gone are those days. I mean, convenience versus... Yeah, sorry, we'll just, yeah.
I'm so sorry, but I'll have to cut the discussion short. No, so sorry. Yeah, but I'm sure there are a lot of questions, and I'm actually irritating quite a few of you, but I'm sure Sandeep is going to be here with us for some more time. So, Kaushik.
No problem.
Kaushik is going to be here for some more time. You could talk to him outside the room, but we have to get going on the next session. Otherwise, we'll run into problem. I'm so sorry.
So thank you very much. It was great talking to you, and the fact that there are so many questions makes me feel good. Let's keep it coming. I'm here for a while, and please.
Thank you, Kaushik.
Thank you.
For your time and coming here and sharing your story and being vulnerable in front of everyone. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Kaushik, thank you so much for sharing your experience and stories. May I now invite Anubha Khanna, Director, Coaching and Development, 3 Fish Consulting, and Kaushik, our Vice President, Delhi NCR Chapter, to felicitate Kaushik.
This is Kaushik facilitating Kaushik.
Kaushik, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now I get the names.
Thank you so much. That's it? 1 person.